What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcast, RAF ESPARZA, coming to you with another great installment of the Bullpen, a joint venture between Inside BJJ and the Grappling Hour. I hope that you guys are having a pretty good day. I'm having a decent day. It has been a long couple days. The drives out to Vegas, they don't get shorter, but the action does get better at the PGF. So that was a lot of fun. And I think so far so good on what we are seeing out there. So I hope that you guys are enjoying the action out at the PGF. Your boys having a blast doing all the coverage, the pre, the post show. And I gotta say, it's a little lonely on the island. I get a lot of questions about Tim. So I do have to make sure that when we bring him on the show, that we can show he does still exist. So here is Tim.
Yes.
He does exist. He is doing okay by all accounts. Tim, have you missed being there live with us?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's a different buzz when you're in the building and you're watching it and you see the body language of the athletes off the mats. Like what they do on the mat obviously is what counts, but you can really read how their matches and their disposition is impacting their performance based on your observations of what they're doing off the mats. And it's just great to see everybody. The PGF gang is a really fun gang to be around. And I privately, one of my guilty pleasures is watching RAF become annoyed with people, but not react in an annoyed way. But I know that he's annoyed. And I just sit there and I just have a big, warm, internal smile in my heart when that happens.
It's just so terrible. I couldn't imagine what you're saying is true, Tim, because everybody knows I am a warm and never angry human being. And I feel like if you truly know the essence of me, and many of you have been watching us for years, decades even now, but when I'm on camera, there's only so much I can fix. So if I'm producing it live, I don't know that I'm necessarily mad at people as much as situations or anything where I'm trying to fix something. So there is a lot more of that. That might look like I'm mad at the athletes, but occasionally there might be a moment where I go, okay, that is happening. Not ideal, but we'll get through it. Now, I want to point this out. Wallow is contributing $5 to the Tim's Vegas Flight Fund. So
nice.
Spirit Airlines, here we come. So Tim is on his way shortly.
Yeah, that's going to TRT, Wallow. So thank you very much.
And Isaac asking, we're all just out here on islands. Well, who knows where he ever is? I just know that
yeah.
Sometimes Isaac's just like, hey, man, what's going on? I'm in Mexico right now. How? I thought you're producing the show. I'm both, man.
Permanent vacation. Yeah. I love Isaac, though. I love Isaac so much because sometimes you're like really dealing with the problem and he'll just be saying just random things. And you're like, that's not in your head. You're like, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. And then he says something. And you're like, oh, that's it.
So, Tim, I told you I would give a prompt for something that we would chat about on air together. And I want to start with this before we even get to the board. The Oscars are this weekend. And very famously, The Rock was trying to get nominated for an Oscar for The Smashing Machine, which doesn't bode well for mixed martial arts odds of getting nominated for Oscars. There is one movie that did get nominated for Oscars. So I'll start by asking you, a mixed martial arts film that got nominated for an Oscar, and I'll give you a hint. It was for Best Supporting Actor. So do you know that offhand?
For this 2026?
No, in the past.
In the past, it was a mixed martial arts film?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's got it. Okay, look, I know we're a show and we're live, but he's got to give me like a couple of seconds. I can't. I've yet to see a mixed martial arts movie that was good. Like,
okay. This is good because this is where we're going here in a second. But I just wanted to kind of see if you had any inkling to what that could be. Here is your hint.
No. Okay.
It's one of the better movies. It might have just been put in the chat.
Someone gave it up already?
They did.
Come on.
It is
Warrior?
a movie by name of Warrior. Did you ever see that movie?
No, absolutely not.
First of all, it's actually very good. And the interpolation of mixed martial arts, still early in his integration. Does Kurt Angle hit a power bomb? Yes. Is he playing a Russian character? Sure. But the core essence was better than we've had, especially up to that point. But the person who got nominated for Best Supporting Actor was Nick Nolte, who gives a gritty, like a really just affecting performance. And I would highly recommend for him. Joel Edgerton, I think, and Tom Hardy are both in it. Phenomenal work in there. So I'm very happy to say that. So my question to you, Tim, is, can you give me a story that could potentially be the basis for an Oscar-nominated movie that has to do with mixed martial arts? The camera is on you. The time begins now.
I just gotta come through with it right now.
Yes.
Just off the top of my head. Yeah, I could give you a story about mixed martial arts that I believe could become an Oscar. Okay. And I'm gonna take my creative liberty with this, so bear with me. This story is about a set of identical twins. One brother is a UFC broadcaster. This is a MMA. This is a fake movie. This is called, like, it's not UFC, it's some other Hollywood version of it. The other brother is very, very jealous, and it turns into a murder for hire with a plot twist. In the end, there's a little thing that happens, and we find out that the guy we thought was good wasn't good, and the brother we thought was bad actually was good. And then there's a killer bees swap out at the end, and he slides right in and takes bad brother's place, and everything rolls off in the sunset just fine. That's about the best I could do given the amount of time and prompt that I was given. I think that would be my
don't
Oscar
blame the prompt. How dare you?
There.
I won't accept any blame for the prompt. The prompt is exactly.
I'm gonna blame the prompt.
You can blame the prompt, but you know who didn't blame the prompt? The Rock, who tried everything in his power to get an Oscar nomination and might have been next out, might have been top 10, but found out the hard way. Like, shit, I took no pay for a movie and didn't get nominated for an Oscar. What the fuck is this? I'll go make Fast and Furious 29 and make my money back. So, do you want me to off the cuff this and tell you what I think could be an Oscar-nominated film? All right. So, here is my general thought. I'm a longtime Oscar viewer. I know the ins and outs, the tropes. I'm usually pretty good at picking. I'll usually get about 3/4 of the field right. So, my batting average is usually like 18 out of 23. Not bad. So with that in mind, I'm coming to you guys from a place of expertise as a longtime Oscar viewer. What kind of films do they like? Here is a surefire way to get nominated with some artistic liberties. You tell the story of you tell the story of Craig Jones and Gordon Ryan. Now, part 1 is going to be them meeting and taking steroids together, but we're going to steal elements of heated rivalry, and now they're gay. And really, it's not that far off. So as they fall in love, they realize at one point that everybody in their life is inconsequential, but there can only be one true GOAT. Now, as they start to fall in and out of love, lots of repercussions to everybody around them. Part 2, this is where time travel comes into play. And I think you're wondering, why does time travel happen? It has to take place in some part in World War II. Don't ask why. Oscars love World War II so much. They will nominate just about anything that happens there. And in this time, we do find Gordon's parents. We're not quite sure which side they're affiliated with at this point. It's ambiguous. But Craig steals Gordon's stack. A little bit of a Back to the Future moment here. Okay, and it has implications so that when they come back to the present, everything has changed. They have moved the pebble in the timeline, so now they have to fall into it. And that brings us to our current storyline, where do we think they're still in love and that's why they're yelling at each other? But yet the movie ends with them holding hands, driving off a canyon, and it fades out. So I ask you, Tim, how much money are you willing to commit to this movie right here, right now? Go.
Just out of my pocket as a goer or as an executive producer?
Executive producer, this is our shot to make this movie 1, 2, 3, go.
Oh, I'm mortgaging the house.
Done.
And I'm emptying out the 401s. Let's go.
Wait, hold on. Can I point this out? If you want to win an Oscar, make them gay. That was literally the first plot point. Where were you on any of this?
We already know that.
Jesus. Yeah, it's how Gordo got his groove back. No. We want them to win Oscars. We don't want the Tyler Perry version.
Can I ask you a question? Who's going to play Gordon Ryan and who's going to play Craig Jones? Because that's what I want to know. Screen
Capture. It's actually a Pixar movie. People don't know that. I just figure it's the easiest way to do it. It says, on your version, people were asking if they have accents, Tim.
Yeah, they have a Boston accent. For sure.
Fair.
Yeah.
And then somebody also said, that's just basically Red Belt on LSD, Tim, to your prompt.
Well, I mean, hey, listen, it takes one to know one, my man.
And then somebody put, that's easy, the John Jones story. I mean, I think the real critical moment of the John Jones story still hasn't happened. And I think the Dateline episode has to happen first. Also, what's up, Jared? We love you too. And yes, there's a lot of stuff that we will get to. I see this comment here, and it will come into play in a little bit. But Tim, why don't we go ahead and start with the board? We should tell the people what happened this week at the PGF. So it was week 2 of action. It was intense. It went all over the place. But Tim, in your recollection, what happened at the PGF in week 2?
Yeah, it kind of played out like we thought it was, in that the Kings continued to maintain a very high standard. Didn't quite have the amount of offensive production that they had in week 1, but they still did very well. Now, where there were 2 other elements of real drama going on in week 2. One is the battle between the Twisters and Phenoms. They were neck and neck. I think the Phenoms were at 19 points and the Twisters were at 21 going into week 2, or it might have been reversed. Don't quote me on that, but they were right in there, and those 2 teams slugged it out. And the Twisters really, really had a lot of production out of Kevin Beering, Elijah Carlton. You're not going to have those 2 guys on your team week in and week out and not put big numbers up. And we saw that. They ended up with 53 points. They broke away from the Phenoms. They pulled away by over 20 points. And, I think they're setting themselves apart. They're only 17 points down from the Kings, which is great going into week 3. That's a great spot to be. Having said that, the other story that we were paying attention to very closely is what's going to happen with the Colorado Wolverines. And I got to say, going into Caleb Crump's matchup, it was very close and very tight. And when Caleb finished that choke, you could feel that at home. I could feel the sense of relief from Caleb, not just, hey, man, I got points on the board for my team and we were really up against the wall, but also he gets on the mic and in a refreshing act of just being authentic and humble said, hey, man, this is my first sub at the PGF. Like, this is my first one. This is a big deal to me. I'm super grateful to be here. And I feel like that resonated really, really, really well with the audience. And you could feel that watching from home. You're like, man, this is a pretty cool moment. I imagine it was even more intense if you were in the building when it happened. And the Colorado Wolverines got the win. So that's a big milestone for them. And at the same time, they scored twice as many points as they did the week before. So you're looking for improvements. You're seeing improvements. You're seeing the stories develop. Athletically, the rankings, man, like Buring shot way, way up in the leaderboard, which is nice to see. You still got Thompson. You still got Orenday in there. Magana's near the top now. So, they're all scoring points on the Kings. But I think, the Carlton and Buring really putting big points up. You did see some production out of Melanson, but maybe not what you would expect to see from him based on his week one. But overall, it's a nice week. Set us up real good for week 3, Raf.
I was pleased, and you brought up a very interesting point, which is that, yes, the Twisters did show up, and a lot of people have high expectations for them. They have Kevin Buring, amazing. They have Elijah Carlton, who really showed out as well, so let's not bypass that. You have a stalwart performer in Travis Haven, who is very consistent with his results, has good matches. And yeah, you can have one match he might be a little off on, but by and large, very consistent performer. So what I think you're seeing there is some really good stuff. I am under the assumption, and I don't know everything, I think TV Dinner might be out. And I don't love that reality because afterwards I talked with Austin, and Austin had a sense of I had to do what I had to do, but I never like injuring my opponents. And I felt like TV Dinner was, Parker is a game competitor. He's very good in his world. I think he's incredibly young and stands to have a very, very good career in jiu-jitsu. But I do feel like he did struggle a little bit in this world against this incredible mismatches if you read them on paper. Like, Anthony Parker Salisbury versus Sean Melanson is a tough match no matter how you cut it. So I believe there is a strong possibility we see one of their 2 reserves coming in. Now it's an interesting question of which reserve they'll go with because you do have a lot of experience with Gio, and Eric Allen is somebody that you get the sense is chomping at the bit. My man brought his whole family out there, and they have really been spending time and doing things together out in that world. So I do wonder if that changes anything. But the Twisters had an incredible week. They also were front and center for Greasegate. So how did Greasegate play at home to you, Tim? Because to us, having the stop down really doesn't happen. We like to have action that goes on fast paced. That is what the PGF is all about. So to have a halt and then remind people the amazing benefits of Once Upon a Coconut for 5 minutes at a time meant we did have a little bit of a stop down. So for that reason alone, it was confusing to me, but how did it play at home?
The broadcast team did a pretty good job. You could tell something was going on and they weren't quite caught up to speed immediately on it. It was like they didn't have the info, like what actually is going on. And, they were talking about it a little bit. And then the commissioner's like, I'm going to go get up and check this out. It's like, uh-oh. That's like when you're making noise in the other room and you're a kid and your dad's like, hey, what are you doing? And you're just like, you don't respond and you're still making noise. And your dad goes, all right, I'm getting up. And you're like, oh no, he's gonna solve it real quick. So BMAC goes to check it out. Look, I was hoping there was some greasing going on. I love controversy. I love drama. I think it's freaking fantastic. And this could be some gamesmanship for sure, right? Certainly there's probably some gamesmanship going on. And if you are the opposing coach and you catch wind that there's any kind of ointment, cream, lotion, oil, anything, man, you got to call it out. You got to make a big deal about it because you got to set the tone to the other team that they're not going to get away with anything, that you're watching everything because this is competition and you're wanting to win. Having said that, it turned out, they were pretty quick on the broadcast to come back and go, hey, it was some kind of topical, muscle cream or something like that. And they were trying to wash it off. And that was the big deal. Can it be washed off? Well, what is it? Like, of course it can be washed off. Like, what is this, some kind of like radioactive material that they put on this guy? They made it kind of a big stink about that. And I'm like, he can't go to the bathroom and wash his forearm off or whatever. Like, I think he's all right. Overall, though, it kind of just, it played out to be nothing. But I do like that the PGF just like goes like, hey, we're going to go with this. They send the cameras over. They start talking about it. And when you're at home, like, I wasn't paying attention at first, but, as they started like, hey, we're going to get into this, then I did stop what I was doing and I started watching it. So overall, I thought it played reasonably well.
Okay. So I have done my due diligence here because I didn't know exactly what biofreeze would do. That was the alleged substance that was mentioned at one point. So when somebody said, hey, do you think biofreeze could be a problem? My initial reaction was, I'm not smart enough to know that. I mean, sometimes it seems logical. You put something on your leg, it could make you slip more. But also, I don't know shit. So I try to research it. So what I did was, instead of actually doing real research, I asked ChatGPT about it. So
there you go.
It does say grease factor. Most topical creams become incredibly slippery once you start sweating. If you apply it to your knees or elbows, you might find it harder to maintain certain guards or finishes like a triangle choke because your own limbs are sliding out of place. Now, irritation to training partners. If you're rolling in a gi, which we don't, the cream usually stays on you. In no gi, however, the menthol is actually going to end up in your partner's eyes or nose. This is generally considered mat foul territory and can make you a very unpopular person to roll with. So in that regard, the fact that the twisters were saying that something did happen, maybe if it smells like menthol, you might have some issues with it. If it's getting on your body, they go everywhere. It's hard to exactly say what the claim and the contention was. So I guess I could kind of see that argument, but by and large, I didn't know the exact extent to which it would give a full advantage to, especially when Jared, the person that they were alleging, was not winning those matches. So perhaps it was more of a call to say we need to be paying more attention to those people. But to me, it was a very confusing time. And I want to point something out. If we are going to throw challenges, we need to have a referee stoppage, just like they do in football. It says, claim has come out. This person has said this. We're going to go look into it. Instead, we went more secretive than the government talking about aliens. And legitimately, they're like, we don't know. And when they went to the twisters, now granted, I do think it's a good idea to have Elijah not say anything. I could agree to that part. But when they were like, what do you guys think about that? And Alex had no idea. She just went up to them and was trying to make conversation. Her instincts were right on the money. But when she went up to them and said, what do you guys think about this? And they went tight-lipped. It was like, brother, this is television. You have to tell us what you're claiming. Because if you don't tell us, it's like throwing out a challenge flag in football. And then when they ask, like, why'd you do that? I'd be like, I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. You find out later. It's like, you can't do that shit. Just tell us what the fuck it is. And in our particular world, greasing has such major allegations, it is almost questioning the integrity of the persons or the team doing it. So I want to get into that world, and I'll bring up this. I feel now we are at a place with the PGF where things are getting a lot more personal and the tension is higher. What does that mean? I think we are now at a place where these teams are starting to form brand identities. And before you know it, we're getting what we want in the world of jiu-jitsu, where it's like other sports and other leagues where you might say something like, oh, you're a Raiders fan, and it has a certain connotation to it. So we are getting what we want. But along the way, with those rivalries, it's going to get really tense where you're going to see moments like this and interplays between some of the different teams that play on television and carry on into the outside world. So in that respect, I did want to make sure that we were covering this from both the television angle, the at-home angle, and the in-person angle. And I can tell you, just from a TV perspective, I really do hope that in the future, we're just a little bit more clear about what the accusations are. I think BMAC going to go handle it is a necessity. But it did feel like it did take a minute. And I do know that when BMAC stormed back onto the mats, he was wearing his shoes, and it was so serious. He was wearing his shoes on and off the mats and just told everybody to start cheering. So it was like, nah, man. I mean, I think we wanted to keep the action going as well, but we did want to make sure we weren't bypassing what was a very serious allegation. So I don't know. A lot of shit happening out there. So it does see that. And it says, week 3 is cry week, isn't it? Oh no, don't want to do that. Somebody else put this up here, and I did want to come back to this because there's just so much happening in this world that it is hard to stay on top of every single comment. But DW Jones put, poor Wolverines are turning out to be the Montreal Expos of the PGF. So initial take on that, Tim.
I mean, okay. Yeah, that's about right. Montreal Expos came in, weren't a great team, but I mean, calling them Canadians is kind of low, isn't it? Like, come on, guy. I would look, I've stooped very low on this show. I've said all kinds of things. I wouldn't even go that far.
Let's come back to a couple of these comments that people had. One of the other ones was, I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about Sean and what he said on Instagram. Okay, Tim, I'm not sure if you saw this, so I'll go ahead and take this one. All right, so Sean went on his Instagram and, true to form, went, I guess, live or just did a edited video that he did from his car while driving. And so he was basically making the case that the referees need to be a little more consistent with their judging. Now, I think there's a sense amongst the athletes that it's a little bit of apples to oranges when the referees are making their calls. For example, why is it stalling for some when somebody else from a different team might be doing the same way? In it, there does seem to be some heavy amounts of accusing those teams of maybe getting a little bit more lenient calls. It's difficult. When you have referees that are human, you will have human error. So there is going to always be a possibility of it. It is difficult to do. And I would also entertain the fact that, sure, it could be, maybe it's not the same for every single person. But it is kind of interesting when you watch it live that the athletes themselves and the coaches are essentially yelling out and gaming the system. The minute they feel it, they'll go, hey, where's the stalling call? It's gamesmanship. It's 100% being utilized by both the players and the coaches. They'll just never cop to it. They'll tell you that they're just playing the game, and they are. But 100% you do see it within like literally 2 seconds. So like, hey, where's the stalling call? So it works both ways. I will say this. I don't think Sean's allegations are necessarily all wrong in the sense that he's an athlete. He's going to have a different interpretation of what the athlete feels on the mats. That's going to be different than the rest of us who watch it. And it's definitely worth considering and looking at in the future. The only thing I would say is for Sean, and I do mean this respectfully, when you start a video saying, I'm not complaining, and it is a 10-minute video, it might come off as complaining. Now, he did put up a second video where he's like, hey, man, it's just tough. And I do recognize I'm putting myself out there. Maybe I'm speaking a little bit off the cuff and maybe a little emotionally, but it does matter to me. And I do think it is going to open up a conversation. So I don't mind that part. But yeah, just in terms of just saying it, man, you don't need to hide around it. Just tell us you got some complaints and just go off of it. Because I think by and large, he is appreciating the experience, but I do think he has a style that he is finding somewhat frustrating where it's like, hey man, I can give you highlights if you let me be me. But I do think that part of the gamesmanship of this is to ensure that everybody gives us highlights. And there's no assurance that somebody who does give you highlights all the time will be like that in 20 to 30 matches. So it is done with the intention of making everybody exciting. So I do see both sides of that. I just do think it is worth meriting that you're going to see a lot more conversation about the referees as we go, because it is the least popular position. And I say this as the second least popular position of the PGF. So I know from experience.
You know, I get what athletes are saying, and it seems like every year this kind of topic comes up during one of the weeks. But the part of the charm of the PGF is that the refs will tighten or loosen the rules or kind of the enforcement based on the action and the athletes. And look, it's a lot like baseball, man. Some hitters get a better strike zone than others because they've established themselves that they can hit. And if they take a pitch and it's close, a lot of times the umpire gives it to them. Gives them the benefit of the doubt. And you kind of do see that in this sense. If you're a grappler and you're always hanging out on the outside, you're not engaging, you're just kind of engaging, you're going to get put on the shot clock. But if you don't grapple that way, if you're often mixing it up all over the place, playing the game, if you take a few steps back and you dance around, they don't consider that the same as a guy that's always on the outside for whatever reason, right? And maybe that's just part of the human thing, but that's part of understanding when you go into the PGF, you kind of have to understand this is how this game is played, especially if it's your first season. They're not going to give you a bunch of leeway. It's not going to happen.
Here's the note that we got, and I'm not quite sure who this is from, so you can tell me your name in this one, but it says, before next season, they need to address clearly to the teams when you can / what you can and cannot challenge something in a match.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, they do host rules meetings. Maybe there's just so much to cover. It does get lost in the long-term thing. Yeah.
The athletes don't listen. I've been to the rules meetings. Look, dude, they need a rules test after the rules meeting. They need to be like, okay, now we're going to pass out a Scantron. And if you don't get this, you don't pass this with a 70%, you don't get to compete this week. Like, because they're just checked out, man. A lot of them are. They are, dude. You know it is.
So here's the other thing that they put up. They said, well, it's that and the money bags. And yes, that was the second part of Sean's allegations, or at least, I don't even know if I want to call them allegations, but claims. Let's go with that. Sean seemed to be suggesting that somebody like Chewy might be doing the same submission over and over again, and he's getting money bags. Well, that's an easier conversation to have, which is money bags are subjective. So that's just based on the preference of them. And it does seem that at one point he was told, hey, I was going to throw a money bag at you, but you came off too cocky. And I don't think he liked that. I think that would bug me if I was an athlete too. But I think a secret sauce of the money bags is how much are you inciting the audience? So it's not just getting the submission, but it's like getting people riled up, getting them to cheer for you. And I think Sean's personality isn't necessarily playing more to the crowd. It's just like, hey, I gave you a submission. Wasn't that cool? Let's appreciate that for what it is. But if you watch it, look at every twister that has gotten a money bag. It's a good submission. And then it's the team coming out and yelling out money bags. And I swear to you, Tim, it is nothing funnier to me because I'm right where the curtain is, where the athletes are warming up. And they literally pop their head out like they're Muppets. And they go, money bag, and then pop right back out. Money bag! And literally that's what they're doing. So I do feel like it might be on your team and your fellow compatriots to help make the argument that you should be getting more, because if you're not going to advocate for yourself, it's got to be a sense that it is getting the crowd hype. And maybe they're bringing the crowd. Maybe Chewy's bringing more people than other people are there to see, or whatever that is. But that crowd goes nuts every time he wins. And to his credit, every one of his matches has been pretty exciting for that reason to watch. So, yeah, I do think it's very difficult to have a certain kind of conversation, but I think you'd be hard pressed to say that Sean isn't providing action and that he won't get money bags. I think that is going to come. It's just, I think there is a slight frustration with that. And it says, this is what it is. Chewy is consistent and why we want that money back. Sean is good, but hasn't stood out yet like the others. I don't even know if that's true either, because Sean has given us good moments. It's just Chewy's got a charisma and a storyline that people are getting behind. And it's very difficult to tell you sometimes why people might prefer this versus that. So I don't even know if I want to say that it's because Sean isn't producing great results. Some of his submissions have been fantastic. So I think, again, it's very difficult, but it says, I think Sean is an incredible athlete and competitor, but he's not terribly likable. Well,
I don't think that's even a fair thing to say. Like how we haven't even, I really enjoyed your post week 1 interview with him. I thought he was great. And he's in a tricky spot, you know, but part of the challenge is this. Look, when you see a guy like Sean step onto the mat, you expect him to crush the guy he's standing across. Like, it doesn't surprise you. Like, yeah, he brutalized the guy. When you see Chewy, you're like, this is like the kind of dude I grew up with and hung out with. You know what I mean? Like, so when he does something awesome, you're like, yeah, bro, yes. And whether that's right or wrong, it's just part of the game. I don't know what to tell you. Like, and you shouldn't be worried, honestly. If you're focused on not getting money bags, then your head's in the wrong place. It's not about getting money bags. It's about winning.
I do think that it is what we are talking about with tensions getting higher. Like, it is very similar to what you see in other sports, where an athlete might be killing it, might be putting up numbers and wondering why they're not getting the love of another person. That is professional sports in a nutshell. And I think the smart thing that Sean did was go on to speak directly to his people to say, like, this is what I'm feeling. And whether it resonates or not, it's going to get a discussion going. And I wouldn't be surprised if Sean ends up with a money bag in this next week if he does something fairly interesting. But it is a lot of it him leveraging his network to say, like, hey, look at what I'm feeling. Do you feel the same way? And I think you're right. I think that Sean came off as likable in my interview. I think he's interpersonally super professional. We've had nothing but good interactions. I really do feel like really what the audience is saying is, I haven't found a reason to connect with this personality yet on TV. But if you look at it, he's engaged over 200,000 people. And I think it's because his personality gets shown a little bit more over time on his Instagram, where he can have a sense of humor in, like, messing around with his athletes and doing sillier submissions that are kind of like funny. Whereas, you know, a lot of the times when you're on PGF, the times that people connect with you is if you cut a good soundbite afterwards, or if you have a dope submission, but you got that little extra thing that you're like playing to the audience or getting them riled up. So there is this. And thank you to the Dream. I think this is a very accurate statement. It's like, if you get to interact with him, I think you'll find he's been pretty nice and pretty cool. So I don't really want to entertain, like, I think that dude's just not cool. He's not. It's like, well, you don't know. But
all the
by and large,
guys don't like him because he's buff and he's yoked.
Yeah, bro. I mean, jiu-jitsu works for everybody, including buff guys. So take a number, man. All right, Tim. I think we were going to go over, isn't that sort of the definition of likability? You know what? Maybe your criteria for likability might be a little obtuse if that's how we're cutting that definition. I would just tell you this. Sports presents different personalities and stories. You can align with whatever resonates with you. And if it doesn't resonate with you, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not good people or they're not interesting. It's just, hey, man, that's not my thing. And I think that's the beautiful thing of Chewy's whole thing is just like, dude, we're getting caught up in this. And there's a real moment when we watch these events with Chewy where we go, can this guy win it? Like, I'm not saying he's more talented than anybody else, but sometimes you can just watch somebody at a table at Vegas and say, that dude's on a heater. And right now he is 5 matches, wins, and that is a good streak to be in. So there is that. And it says, in viewers' defense, we only know what we know, right? If you're looking for reasons not to like him, sometimes you will find them. But I will tell you, I think we have to admit he's a very strong player. And if he doesn't resonate with you, and maybe you got the same note that they were giving him, which he seems cocky, that's on you. I'm just letting you know, I usually hold it to the interactions that I have with them on person. I might feel a certain way, but once you meet them in person, it'd be different if Sean said some jokes about me and was like, yo, you're fat, man, get out of here. I'd be like, man, that dude's kind of a dick. It wasn't like that. Dang. So hard to say.
Hey, listen, Raf, you and I both know. We know guys that resonate great on the camera with people, but off air, personally, they're not really that fantastic to chill with or be around. So there's the opposite too, you know?
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, we're still going to roast people accordingly. Like I said, I think the real key is nothing is funnier than a dude who's like, I'm not complaining, but scroll 10 minutes. That is complaining. So we do see both sides here. It's just, hey man, he put up a second post today being like, all right, maybe I was going a little too more in. Like, I think he got feedback and maybe thought about it some more, but part of this process that you see that's raw and all the behind the scenes stuff is you're seeing their initial reactions as they go. You're literally seeing them in real time. And we're best when we have time in between things to clean up our character or to have more clarity or perspective. So I think that's part of the reason why we like the sport and we like the behind the scenes stuff, is because we want to be like, ooh, how is he feeling when that happened? Show me the footage. Ooh, he lost. I want to see that behind the scenes. Yeah, go follow him. See what he says. Like, that's really what we're looking at. All right, I think you guys have talked about that enough. Let's move to our second topic here. Hey, did you guys know that the UFC, BJJ had an event yesterday? Well, they did. And did I watch all of it? No. Did Tim? No. But we do know what happened. So, Tim, can you give us a small inkling of what happened yesterday at UFC BJJ 6?
Yes, we saw the return of UFC BJJ 6. Claudia Gadella took a break from her shift supervisor job at Mickey D's, and they ran the event. Like, hey, look, she started it.
She did it. She did it. She made a meme. It's on her.
It's on her, man. UFC BJJ 6. There were some big names on the card. It was the return of Mason Fowler. He had his light heavyweight title on the line, and it was also the title match for the bantamweight title between Cassia Mora and Fiona Davies. We also had Nikki Rod and Elder Cruz had their rematch on the card. We saw the debut of Zhao Miao against Formiga, which was a decent match. Look, overall, the card looked good on paper, but it did not play well. Unfortunately for the UFC, there were lots of decisions. There were a couple split decisions. Anna Rodriguez, Jasmine Rocha had a split decision that was contested. In the same with Cassia Mora and Fiona Davies. That was a split decision. The only match really the armbar match, of course, is straight away when Makeem got the armbar over Marco Mendez, but everything else was just one draw over the one split decision or decision over the next. And Nikki Rod and Elder Cruz, they fight to a draw. And look, we know that submission grappling's not MMA. Okay. So in MMA, you're taking hard damage. Like, it's compiling. So you can't really have an overtime round in mixed martial arts. It's just like, dude, it's just not going to work. Like, you can't add something on to what they've trained for. But in grappling, you can. And I just don't look. I would rather see, okay, first one to score or first one to do something, EBI overtime, do something, because to have a big name like Nikki Rod show up at UFC BJJ 6 and then, have a match that works out to a draw, it's just not satisfying. There's no gratification. It's one of those reels you watch where somebody's like vacuuming a bunch of stuff off, and it's like you're getting this you can't wait till they finish it, and they're like, they're on the last strip, and then the reel just repeats again, and you're like, no. That's what UFC BJJ 6 was. Dude, it was a burger with no beef and all lettuce. It's just decisions and draws, man. Like, not a great look for the UFC.
Well, thank you for that, Tim. Can I just tell you a slight frustration I had? Well, it might be a couple. I might have a couple here. Okay, listen. This is really nothing to do with UFC BJJ, but I think it is inherently the same struggle everybody else in their life has. I get home, traveling from Vegas, a little tired. I still want to support, and I want to see what happened. Spend some time with my family, enjoy my time, see my dogs, hang out with my wife, take a walk. And I say, let me catch the video replay of UFC BJJ. Tim, how many matches were on the card yesterday?
I think the main card had like 6 or 7. I don't know if there was an undercard.
Let's just say there was 8. Okay?
Okay.
Let's just say I'm rounding up to 8. The runtime of that event was 3 hours and 30 minutes for 8 matches. Now listen, can I go online and watch them individually? Yes, and I tried doing that. And I found a curious thing when I was doing that. It looks like UFC BJJ is now its own YouTube page. They don't have it aligned with the UFC, which is where they did all those big numbers. So now it is standing on its own. And as it stands on its own, those numbers aren't quite as big as the other things. So I feel like it's an interesting time when people are talking about contracts and making the case for UFC BJJ being the prime and all destination. The UFC has all these advantages, but now I think they're literally saying like, hey, we want to see how this thing does on its own. And yesterday, it does look like the brand itself from the English telecast was somewhere in the 150K region. It's good numbers.
Yeah.
But it's got a huge advantage with the UFC machine pumped behind it. You would think those numbers might be a little higher. So we're in a little bit of a growing pains sort of thing. We're in the process of trying to figure out what is the real appeal and draw of this. And if we are only getting kind of so-so matches, it's a tough world to be in. So I think we are really finding out as the UFC stars have led the charge on why this is a better destination. Kind of want to see it. Didn't feel like it yesterday. And I'm going to present one other theory, and you guys tell me what you want. The commentary. Now listen, I know that this could seem small, or that it might seem like, yeah, as RAF, he's a commentator, he's making some opinions about this. He would love that job. I would take that job in a heartbeat. But the current version of it is not working. It is rough. It is forcing me to put it on mute, and I'm seeing a lot of comments show up. So it's not just me. It's not just this guy talking to you right now. It is literally viewer feedback that it is not hitting it. And if you're going to stand by it, that's all good. But I really do think you have to give those notes because it's getting pretty rough. And I used to think, I'm like, man, maybe it's just me who feels this way. Nope. Literally every UFC BJJ post I have seen in the past day has been, this commentary is atrocious. And it wasn't written by me. Written by a lot of other people. So
your troll army.
Good Lord, I wish I had that much time to write every single one of those posts. I don't. And I don't care that much to make somebody feel bad about a product I want to be good. But it's not. And maybe it's just the combination of the three. I read somewhere that they're locked into those contracts. Ooh, I would look to see if those have exit clauses. Because if you're looking to be the best in the world, then maybe you need to have better commentators. So, just saying.
Yeah, it's real interesting what's going on with the UFC, BJJ, and the migration of certain athletes going there. They're really, and this is what the the villain always does this because the villain never knows that he's the villain and he can't understand why he's the villain. And he spends a good amount of his time trying to explain and pontificate about all the good stuff he does and how he's not really the villain. And the UFC is turning into the WCW in the Monday Night Wars, where they're like, we got the money and we're taking the talent and they're all going to come over here. And we already know how that plays out. Eventually you get a bunch of guys over there and everybody wants to be top dog and they don't know what the hell the story actually is. And it loses its shine after a while. That's my personal opinion. Probably what's going to happen. But yeah, I don't know if this is the right time to bring it up, but I was kind of taken aback that Krellenstein wins at Polaris, gets on the mic on Flow Grappling's platform and distribution and calls out the UFC and basically asks for a job, which is like terrible idea to do. And Polaris even commented on the reel that he posted of him doing that. And it was just like them shaking their head, you know, like a shaking. And then UFC BJJ down there lower has the classic Robert Redford gift where he's looking back and smiling like, yeah, we're doing this. And look, I like the Tackett boys. I like Cody Steele. I know these are all friends of the show, but they're in the comments going like, yeah, get this guy over here. And it's like, man, this is a janky way to do business, in my opinion. If you want to piss off the crowd in a way that really solidifies that they're never going to be on your side as an organization, that's the way to do it.
I get it. Commentary is sometimes a, do you like Rocky Road? Do you like mint ice cream? Everybody has a different flavor and taste. And even in the comment section, listen, UFC with Tim, Raf, and Handsome. That's not bad. It's actually couldn't do worse. Let's put it that way. And I would definitely be the play. So I could see how that works. Hey, get out of here. You can't do that. We're not looking for you. It's us. Don't
hey,
get in
you
our
just
way.
got a team and you're trying to get a commentary job.
Good
Come
Lord.
on, man.
This dude literally is trying to bypass the people who are on screen who have all the more right to being on there and being like, what about me? No. Get in line. Okay.
Eggs eating all the beans, man.
Well, commentary is literally play-by-play in PGF with energy you want. I mean, they have a great team. I love TJ. TJ's a friend. BMAC, they were the team for the Fight Pass Invitational days. I prefer that. I was good with that. But yeah, I get it. I guess what I'm saying in this particular regard is it is a choice, but it is not going very well, in my opinion. It is probably the weakest element because the slick production is very nice. I do like that element of it.
Yeah.
And I do get that the UFC programs can go 3-4 hours, all good. It's just, you need to rein it in for jiu-jitsu because unlike UFC, which now has built all that time and has really earned the place to be as long as they want to be, we're really trying to get new people into the sport and we're really trying to bring them there. So a touch faster would be nice. Must go faster. I think that's as best as it could be said, as Jeff Goldblum once put it out there. Let me put this out to you. You asked, or you didn't ask, but you brought up Ethan making the statement for Polaris. So here's why it's rough. It is rough in the regard that Polaris doesn't have a deal with UFC Fight Pass anymore. They're now on Flow Grappling. So it's using this mic time to say, I'd like to jump ship and go to the other organization, which honestly is kind of a interesting play to make. But for Polaris, that likely flew him out there and paid him a good amount. It's kind of like, hey, man, you could do that anywhere but here. So I think they had the best play possible by overdubbing him and using AI to say how much he enjoyed fighting there and that he is a defending champion and he loves Polaris. I think they usurped his energy, but the statement was what it was going to be. And I find that to be an interestingly done thing by a guy who is quite talented at jiu-jitsu. And by all accounts, I don't know why UFC BJJ didn't have them on the sites beforehand, because he is one of our more prominent people, but it goes to show how people want to get paid. And that brings us to our next topic, though, because the boys over at the Simple Man podcast then asked the question, is ADCC dead? Seemed odd given the timing of asking for a job with UFC BJJ. I'm sure that's just a coincidence. But in this regard, Tim, do you feel there's anything in regards to UFC BJJ usurping the momentum, especially at a time like yesterday where the event was not great, but that maybe, just maybe, the momentum for ADCC is slightly hindered? And if so, do you feel that?
Yeah, I do. And I mean, I think it's obvious. It's not like original to say that when Craig Jones came to town, he took the cool cape off of ADCC. And it's like, you're no longer that cool. Okay, so they kind of lost that it factor thing they had going for a minute, right? They lost it and they didn't get it back. Their attempts to get it back made it quite a bit worse for them. And then they just kind of like, hey, we're doing business as usual. It's an off year. We're running our opens. We're doing this. We're doing that. And in the meantime, the UFC shows up. Hey, we got UFC BJJ. You know, we got a bull. We got this. We got that. And Flow Grappling, they step up their game. They bring Ben Kovacs in. They start trying to turn things around. They start trying to purposefully move in a different, stronger direction. The PGF, you know, is bursts onto the scene really with season 6, and they follow up with the strong season 7, season 8. There's consistency. All these organizations are starting to like make a stand like, hey, if we're going to stay in this game, it's getting competitive and we have to really, really step our game up. And in the meantime, ADCC's nothing to really do that, right? And with the announcement, like, hey, we're going to be out in Poland for the next one. It's like, what? Like, you're going to do what? Like, you should be right here in Las Vegas. You should do it right in the UFC's backyard. That's where you should do it. But they don't. And so, yeah, I do think that it's lost a little bit of its shine. It's lost some of its relevancy and the appeal that the athletes used to have. It was like, I want to get an ADCC. I just don't think it's that strong anymore. There's a lot of options. It's not that big of a deal. Yes, I would love to win ADCC, of course, but for the top guys, I don't think it's the destination anymore. It's just a spot, and that's not good for ADCC. You know, that's not good for them at all as an organization. It'd be interesting. They're not transparent. Like, the ADC is a black box. They just come out with decisions. They're made. We don't really understand exactly how the organization works, exactly where the financing comes from, like what their actual plans are. You just don't know any of it. So it's kind of hard to really like get connected to it and pull for it. So it doesn't surprise me that it's kind of taken a hit.
All right, let's go down their contentions one by one. I'll go ahead and take this from here. All right. So first things first, Damian leading the charge by saying, is ADCC dead? Seems a simple question that he's posing to the group, but let's entertain it. Let's go off of their claims. First, Nikki Ryan saying, well, it should always be in America. Well, if you want an international sport, you got to go visit other places. So I'm not against it, but yeah, we are a pretty big market and we have set the trends for a lot of major things in the sport. Sure. It's a shame we don't have any other ADCC branded things here to ever. Oh, wait, that's right. All the opens. So, yeah, you're still creating a presence here. 2, I think they just want to get paid. The biggest criticism about ADCC is that they do not get paid in a fair way that maybe other organizations are starting to do. Third contention. They're saying, well, it's gone downhill since Mo left. The same problems exist since Mo was there the last time. So it's not necessarily Mo fixed everything. I think Mo probably had a relationship with the athlete. So I think they're just trying to be like, yeah, man, it's different. It's like, it's not really that different. It's the same show. In fact, that is what they're known for. You like it? Same thing. Rinse and repeat. And they made improvements. So let's look at this from a perspective. If you're an athlete, you're trying to make the argument that, yes, there's going to be better money elsewhere. So why go to ADCC and spend your time there? Well, tell that to the probably thousands of individuals who are just like, hey man, here's my time to shine. It's got the same regal stance that I want that everybody else has. And that's where they're going to go. It has history and precedence, and it has made major stars. Having said that, now that there's more opportunities, this is all part of the game. But to pronounce it as being dead, no, too early. There's too many people in jiu-jitsu who will take matches for literally nothing and who want to chase the greatness that those guys have themselves achieved in that world. So I just think they're just trying to say that to get more interest in their own particular brand, to say like, hey, let's go to UFC BJJ and make some money. And if you're Nicky Rod, it wasn't a very long contract. Allegedly, it was a one and done with UFC BJJ. And maybe after yesterday's match, the marketability will always be there for Nicky Rod. But do you feel like you want to do another contract that's going to be a long-term one or a short-term one? So yeah, I think these guys are trying to get the best bang for their buck, and God bless them. I hope they get every cent that they are worth. But that conversation on their show, interestingly timed with Ethan going on Polaris and pulling WCW is the worst. I'm jumping ship to the WWF. Like, we have seen this play out. It was intriguing. It gets a short pop. It might result in Ethan getting a UFC BJJ contract. But my hope is we just get better matches and we see Ethan lay waste to people, because the talent was there. It just feels like, why wouldn't UFC BJJ have picked that guy out? And it should be said, Andrew Tackett, Wagner Ochoa does not excite me. I think Wagner is a dog. I think he seems up for the task. Nobody else? Nobody. And their big issue that I think they're alleging or saying, I don't know, I turned the commentary off. I think they're trying to make the assumption that nobody wants to take the match with Tackett. So here's the question. Do they not want to take the match with Tackett, or do they not like the pay for the task of taking on Tackett? Because the people leading the charge and telling you UFC BJJ is a great thing are the people on the bankroll. Those are the people who feel the most passionately about it. Yeah. I've yet to see people in the comment section who are just fans really taking up Steed. I think they're just kind of saying like, yeah, maybe they have a point, but they're not the ones in the comment section arguing for the favor of UFC BJJ. Not yet. And that could change. Everything here is fluid. But for right now, I would challenge you to say this. I really do feel like Tackett is a hard match, but I think you could go to ADCC Open and ask, hey, who wants a shot at Tackett? And everyone in that division would raise their hand. Even if they knew they could beat him or not, they'd say, I want that smoke. So I think that is the process now for the UFC BJJ, is figuring out a better funnel system of who's going to come through their ranks and try to take on these megastars, because it is a tall task, but there's no shortage of people who want that smoke. Just my thoughts.
Yeah, I think you're right. And it is odd. It makes sense for them. They're like, hey, we got Wagner under contract already. And hey, you know what? Andy, just take this match. You know, I like Wagner. Like, you know, I like watching him compete. I like watching Tackett compete. But you're right. It doesn't move the needle. When I read that, I read, oh, they're just mailing it in, you know?
It says, I'm loving UFC BJJ, but your points are sound. Thank you. And again, we want it to succeed. I don't love poorly constructed arguments. I do want it to succeed, Tim. I like elements of competition, but we just don't pretend that they are perfect. And we don't pretend like the arguments presented in front of us are decreed law. Like when you see it, you go, hey man, that could be improved, right? That could be better. And people are like, no, don't question it. It's great. And you go, And it says they're still going through their growing pains. For sure. But they have a lot of advantages that most other organizations do not. So we can't forget that. Within those two things, it'd be different if they're like, oh man, UFC BJJ is just a scrappy little group of guys. It's like, well,
yeah. Right.
How much did Paramount buy the UFC for? One pennies, I'll tell you that much. So let's go ahead and advance the board, Tim, and let's start knocking out these other different topics. But okay, we're going from one topic to another. Okay, it was announced this week, yes, that Gordon put up a cryptic post saying that Tom DeBlass apparently passed away. He didn't, thank God. But it did cause some drama in the world of jiu-jitsu. So, Tim, can you bring us up to speed in case anybody was living under a rock and didn't know what happened?
Yeah, I mean, listen, if any, I'm going to say a couple things that probably going to make Mr. DeBlass upset. I like Tom DeBlass. I'll start with that. Having said that, he is the biggest humble bragger I have ever seen on the internet. And here's why. He tells this whole thing about how, like, oh, I had this long flight. I was passed out sleeping. My phone was off. And Gordon started this joke. And, we're crazy guys. We like to joke. And, and I woke up to hundreds and hundreds of messages of concern and what's going on. And I'm like, dude, this is all a ruse just to say that all these people were concerned about you because they thought something happened to you. You have to have less than one brain cell to look at that news bite when it first came out and go like, oh yeah, Tom DeBlass, he must be dead. Gordon put RIP. It's like, dude, I knew immediately, like, this is the lamest clickbait bull crap I've ever seen in the jiu-jitsu world. Like, there's a lot of things you could do for publicity. There's lots of things you could just look. The kid, they just run up to people and slap them in the face and have their friend record it. They could have did that. No, they went back to the classic. He died. He done died. Let's all say nice stuff about him. Oh, it's all out. Hey, surprise everybody, I'm alive again. I don't know, man. It's Tom DeBlass. Like, I don't know if he's crazy. Like, if he's just truly a crazy person. Like, he wakes up and he shakes the magic 8 ball, and that magic 8 ball doesn't have like answers to different it just has different personalities, and whichever one comes up that day, he's like, I'm that Tom DeBlass today. Like, I'm Jesus DeBlass. I'm Main Streets DeBlass. I was dead for a while and I resurrected DeBlass. I'm Hair Plugs DeBlass. I'm freaking you don't know me DeBlass. Like, he's a great guy, highly entertaining, but I did not buy it. And I also did not buy his kind of like low-key denouncement of it. Like, this was funny 10 years ago, but the world is different now, and you can't, Gordon didn't, and I don't, it's like, dude, get out of here. Like, just get off of BJJ Eastern Europe for 1 week. Can we have a 1 week moratorium on Tom DeBlass? Whatever it is, we need not a DeBlass max out. We need a DeBlass min out. We need to go dark on DeBlass for a minute. Although I do like him, but this is ridiculous.
Okay, just a few quick thoughts on this one. Listen, this is tough because Gordon, we have to go off of what he says. It's just, it doesn't seem to ring true. So Gordon was making the allegation that somebody took his phone for one post, but yet he had control of it for everything else. Anything's possible, just doesn't look super likely. Then Tom puts up background to the story saying like, hey man, years ago I told him it'd be really hilarious. Or I told him, yeah, if you ever announced that I died, the internet would explode. But it's a different time now. It's like, not really. Honestly, saying you would have died 10 years ago, also conventionally not cool. But I think what's changed is now you have millions of followers. Now you have a lot more people who follow your every move. And because Tom carves out this great space as somebody who is very inspirational and motivational to some people, and a savage to other people, and a fighter to other people, and sometimes it's a combination of all those things, that, yeah, there are going to be people who are very connected to him and say, damn, bro, I can't believe that happened. Are you okay? Okay, nobody should ever be seemed to worry friends and family in that way. So Tom saying that one day he would post, or Gordon saying he would one day post that Tom died. Who is that joke for? Because it's not with us. And it did seem that Trish, Gordon's mom, did confirm that you guys don't know. They just got a sense of humor. That's just their way of telling jokes. Well, it's like, well, the fallout you're receiving from it is the result of telling a shitty joke. So if it's something that makes you guys laugh, totally cool. But that's not how it was relayed. Gordon had to use a very shitty cop-out, which is my phone got hacked, but didn't hack him to seem smarter. And then Tom putting out and saying like, yeah, here's the background of the story. We one time said, wouldn't it be crazy if we did it? And I guess it just happened. Who knew? Yeah. Yikes. Anyways, I'm alive and I'm well. And man, that's crazy, but can't believe that happened. I'm so angry right now. Let's just listen. A few things. Just takeaways, lessons for audience. One, don't put stock in anything they say. You don't have to. Literally, my first thought when I saw it go up was they're like, Gordon posts cryptic message about Tom DeBlas dying. I go, he didn't. That's it. Just literally skepticism. No, I don't believe that. Just some weird shit that happened. I'll find out when everybody posts. Yeah, sure, he's going to be on a flight. Okay, people were looking up the flight information. Thank God. God bless you, sleuths. But I'm just telling you, perhaps don't rush to always having an immediate reaction when you can. We're all guilty of this. And 3, perhaps our parasocial relationship with athletes could be toned down. Because,
yeah,
just, you know what I'm saying? Like if you got that caught up in it without an official statement or a newspaper, just consider your source. Look at everything that Gordon posts and then say to yourself, you were going off the word of that guy. Okay. I think you have yourselves to blame too. So there be that. Hey, we got $2 for fake funeral flowers. Oh, fuck. This is a lucrative business. What the fuck was I talking about? Tim died 2 weeks ago. This is just a hologram now. So,
wow.
Yep. We're going to run with that too.
Sending somebody fake flowers for a funeral is about as low as it gets, right? Like, that's pretty low.
Well, what's not low is you getting the credit for this, Tim. This is all Tim Freeman right here. Now I understand DEPASSED. Yeah, you got to pay attention here, man. We do a lot of stuff that rewards those who watch all the time. You know, Tim, this is a hard board. PGF was the easiest topic. And
I know.
You know, the rest of these have some weight to them that we have to be kind of serious and can't just do dick jokes all the time about. But nonetheless, it does look like Andre Galvao has returned to teaching at Atos, shocker, after a 5-week hiatus of, I don't know, probably nothing serious happening to him. Tim, what exactly happened here, sir?
So Andre Galvao released a video. He went, I don't know if he was live on Instagram or if he recorded it and uploaded it. And it more or less is, listen, there's nothing new essentially in the video. He just states that, you know, Atos is something he built more or less, right? And that it's part of who he is and that he's going to be back in the gym teaching every day. And he put an open call, and I didn't take it as aggressive, although I guess it could be construed that way. He said, hey, if you want to know about it, if you have questions, I'm here every day and I'm open to talking to anybody who comes in. So whether that's good or bad, I don't know. I just don't know what's happening with this. It was such a hot topic for, you know, a week and a half, and then it's kind of just been mum's the word. And I guess, you know, maybe that's how the process plays out. If there's some legal involvement or not, I have no idea. But, you know, it's just, I hate to take a side either way because it's such a serious thing. And I don't want to make my judgment based on what I see on an Instagram reel. But I will say this, everything I see, I just kind of shake my head and go like, nah, I wouldn't have did that. Like, it's probably not the best thing, not the best approach. But it's a tough one, man. I've known Andre Galvao in the past. I was closer to him on a professional level. I've talked to him a lot of times. I've interviewed him a lot of times. I've been to his class before. I've seen him in person and all that kind of stuff. And it's just, dude, I don't know what's happening with it. I would like to know. I would like people to stop sending out messages on Instagram and just freaking be real about it, because the video really didn't tell us anything. Basically, Raf, I said all that to say I didn't learn anything else besides he's reinstated himself and he'll be at Atos Jiu-Jitsu 6 days a week. So good on you, dude. Like, why make a video? Just go back to work. To do it.
It is very interesting when somebody puts up a video of them where they go, I've been thinking a lot about what people have been saying. Anyway, I'm back. So nothing's changed. Gonna go around business as usual. And I think the thing that wasn't clear is, are you now once again the head of the organization? Because when you were out, your daughter was put as the head of the organization. So that did inspire a ton of confidence in terms of you guys taking it seriously. If anything, it just looks a little more suspect of, I'm going to lay low for a few weeks. And I thought it might be months. Like, maybe we don't hear from him for a while. Nah, they were like, he's back. It's been 5 weeks. Isn't that long enough? Hasn't he suffered enough? And it just begs the question, why did all of those other people leave? Because it seemed at the time, and it could be wrong. Again, we really do have to caution this story, which is we don't know a lot. We only know the allegations that have stepped forward. But the allegations did seem to suggest that it was more than just 1 or 2 or 3 parties. So when Atos tells you we're taking this seriously, doesn't look like it. Looks like you guys did the bare minimum and not even a really good job at that. So yeah, I think all of us can be inherently skeptical of this whole process. There's a lot we don't know, but I do feel like for the bits and parts that we did see go up, doesn't inspire a ton of goodwill from the community. And I think what's difficult is I can't get it out of my head that the time that Gordon slapped Andre Galvao, he put up a post a few days later going live, kind of apologizing and then plugging a discount for Atos. So I don't know that these are the best people to watch for morality or for even a reasonable PR response. I'm just begging these people to just maybe look into hiring a PR team. I think it's really important to say. So there is that. Anyway, I see a note here from Sean. I just wanted to correct the statement. I never said I wasn't complaining. I said I truly enjoy competing for the PGF and that Mac is the man, but as an athlete, I have some frustrations. Anyways, appreciate you. I appreciate you too, Sean. But okay, let's take you at your word because I don't want to go back and look that up. 10 minutes is a bit, bro. Just saying. So even if you're not saying it, it's kind of implied. Nonetheless, guys, and this promotion is awesome. I'm with you on that. And Sean, let's be honest. I'm not even saying that your contentions don't have some merit. I just think it is the byproduct of the conversations we have to have. Like, you bringing these points up will get a discussion happening, and I think that's more important than anything else. Whether it improves is going to be a very interesting place. So I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes for the next few weeks. It was 4 minutes. Felt long, but to each their own there, Sean. It's rhetoric. So sometimes it can feel longer if the argument was already pretty well made.
It's like sometimes my wife does that. She goes, I'm not going to complain. And then she goes in to tell me all the things I forgot to do that day. Having said all that, the fact that Sean will come on and leave a comment live is a indication that he's a decent person. In my opinion, all the athletes that come on the show and comment, I like those athletes. They're usually pretty chill. And look, he's concerned. He doesn't want people to think the wrong thing about him, which I think is important. And I don't think it's coming from a place of being overly like a vanity kind of a thing. I think it's coming from a realistic place. So good on you.
Again, I think the nice part is for all of us here, when we are doing the show, a lot of us do see each other a lot. So a lot of us aren't far on the table from where we probably stand from one another. And I think what's really important for us is to try and at least air the side and the perspective of the athlete so that we can enhance the argument, not the smaller details. So that's the part that I'm like, no, I think the whole point of your conversation was to inherently put the argument forward. So I 100% like you guys and like having dialogue. I think it's important for everybody. See? We get along. You guys suck. I don't know what it is. And we just got a $1.99 super chat from DW Jones, 2002. Hey, so thank you very much for that.
Wallow's comment, though. Read what Wallow wrote.
So hold on. Your wife won't drop you on your head. You haven't met Stella. I have a very large belief that Stella will 100% put Tim on the head and then ask him why he didn't take the trash out afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. I get yelled at for stuff my son was supposed to do and didn't do. She's like, why didn't he do that? I'm like, I don't know. Did you tell him? I'm like, I didn't know you told him to do that. Well, why did you think of it? I don't know. Like, okay, sorry.
Nonetheless, we have one more topic before we get to our low light of the week, which is our fight of the week, a segment you guys all loved. Yeah, this one's tough too. Okay, here's what I do like. I like Max Holloway a lot. I love him as an incredible fighter. He also got a black belt this weekend in a fight that he did not win. Now, I guess this prompts us to have a real discussion on, is this the right time to give a black belt? Tim, your thoughts as a black belt yourself.
Okay, yes and no. I do understand the merit of that challenge or that question that you put out there. Like, yes, generally people get promoted to black belt if it's like an MMA thing after they win, right? After they submit somebody that's a black belt or they do some kind of cool thing. Now, Holloway didn't do that. He got beat. He got beat for 5 rounds, right? But when I went and checked, because when you're like, hey, Holloway got his black belt, I'm like, what? I'm going to go check this out. And then, I had to check myself a little bit because he got his black belt from Pedro Sauer. And Pedro Sauer is a G, man. He is not just a great jiu-jitsu coach and instructor and, just one of the pioneers in the United States in terms of like building jiu-jitsu, but he's also a quality person. And you know that because we saw his interactions and the way he handled himself in season 8 at the PGF. And we know that one of his main students, Ricky Lindell is the coach for the Las Vegas Kings. And I don't doubt the black belt. I don't doubt that Holloway's black belt. And Sauer goes like, hey, this dude is a submission specialist in the UFC. And he could not submit Max Holloway. Max Holloway's defense was so good that he couldn't get him, and he got the black belt on that. Was kind of like the driving thing that Pedro Sauer at least credited to it. So good on Max. I get what you're saying. If it was some other dude who gave it to him, I probably would feel a different way. But I can't go against Pedro Sauer. I just can't do it. I'm afraid. I'm afraid to do it.
Hey, listen.
I don't want the jiu-jitsu gods or the Gracies or anybody else coming after me, man.
Listen, I guess the weird part here is, all right, so the benefit is if Pedro Sauer gives you a black belt, all right, we're going to take you at your word. It did feel weird, though, that we are celebrating a certain style of jiu-jitsu as worthy for black belt contention. Now, this is an interesting point. This is what Psycho Joe says. Pedro must have decided he was going to give him the belt before the fight even happened. Now, see, that I believe. Now, allow me to take that one step further. Tim's already a black belt. I'm not. I want to tell you why this is good business for your boy RAF ESPARZA. If we're talking about ultimate defense getting you a black belt, things are looking real good for me. Now, a lot of people like to affectionately say, I'm not super good at jiu-jitsu. That part's inaccurate. I'm actually stellar at defense. The offense can sometimes be tricky. Now, granted, depends on who you're going against. If I'm going against some of the guests that we interview, not super great. But to a civilian, yeah, I can wreck a few of them. I'm all right. But what I am pretty good at, and I get compliments all the time, is a guard known as the RAF guard. Some people call it coffin guards, which is just basically just chilling and doing this. For some, not a problem. Other people, I guess they get really mad at it. I don't think it's exciting television. That's why I don't air it. But to each their own. The fact that it exists, and it is hard for some people to submit me, I think I could be a black belt in like a week if this is the case. So I'm feeling A+. Max Holloway, right there with you, buddy. Granted, Chucky Olive's much harder than most of the people I roll with, but I didn't hate it for that reason. Do I think it's the right time? There are other fights we could have done it for, but I guess that was the most prominent amount of jiu-jitsu at one time for Max Holloway. I just felt like it was a kind of not super fun fight to watch. And I know some of you guys were disappointed, but I want to bring up a real important part. The fact that you would ever give credence to a belt called the BMF belt, if you were mad at that fight, that's your fault because you guys love the BMF. And for me, I think it's a stupid fight. Intercontinental championships hold more weight than the BMF belt. The BMF belt is literally like we need a belt to put on next week because all of our champions are too busy. So we need some reason for people to feel more excited. It is a narrative belt. And to me, I think it's a ridiculous added bonus that we have to indulge. So when you guys were like, that fight's boring, it's not honoring the BMF title. It's made up. It's stupid. So why are you disappointed? Because it's just an excuse. Oh man, they did the BMF dirty. They should retire that belt. They should have retired it after part 1. So
yeah,
there you have it. It says, Holloway may not headline again, and Pedro is getting old, and he should probably get the publicity of doing it around the UFC. It's not like he did it in the cage, right? Yeah, okay. That part I can kind of go with. It's just, I guess what I'm saying here, Tim, is the people probably aren't far off on how we're feeling on this one. It says Pedro probably knows how much having a fight means to Max. It's a good way to promote Max and his academy at the same time. Sure. And then somebody else put up this, and it says, I remember Caltera sharing a story about getting his black belt after losing a competition. As a black belt myself, I have to assume that Pedro knew that this was what his student needed to show him to promote him. I'm not going to argue against Cal or Pedro. The weird part is it's not even arguing against them. It's just saying like it just is oddly timed. But it says Tito Santana put respect on the IC title. Well, that's the real comment. That's the one we should be paying attention to. All right, Tim, I think it's time for us to get to this week's low light highlight of the week. Tell me a little bit about this week's fight of the week, sir.
This one takes place in what is not there are trailer parks where the houses can be moved, but they generally don't have wheels on them. They're like kind of sedentary. You got to like jack them up and move them. And then there's RV parks where the RVs have wheels, and there's like the cool ones that are just a bunch of old people traveling and they're in and out. Then there's the other ones that are like, you know, in Central California, let's say, and people basically live there. This is a fight in an RV park. It's a quick scuffle. It's a 2-on-1, and it features a husband and wife tandem going after a very, very young, maybe this looks like it could be like a teenage Joe Dirt, maybe, or maybe like a cousin of Joe Dirt, somewhere around there. There's a invisible turnbuckle slam that I've never seen before, and it was quite nice. And there's some pro wrestling. There's two major pro wrestling moves in this fight: invisible turnbuckle and a very nice, I'll leave it up to you to spot the last one, but I'm sure you'll catch it. It's a quick, you got to pay attention. It's only like 17 seconds. It's a beautiful fight.
Well, I'm excited for this one. Let's go over to the other board. And Tim, you're going to take the first attempt at walking us through and playing in 3, 2, 1, and go.
So Old Bird takes a swing. Now here comes the invisible turnbuckle. Get down there. Oh, God. Boom. Hubby comes up. He throws a weak kick and then gets headbutt dropped. A nice little kick. Wife comes back and he gets just a straight up choke slam right on the neck, just right at the end. I'm sorry. That was where the video cut, but let's watch it one more time. This guy's got his Tommy Bahama orange shirt and he got a discount at Dillard's. I like the kick. It's almost like he stubbed his toe and then he just catches her. He put his left leg up to kick her, but then like something happened and he just choke grabbed her, and she dropped. She has no base. Okay. This lady has no base. I don't know if she was under the influence, but she needs like a walker or something, man.
Okay. This is a wild one, Tim. I'll take it frame by frame here. Yeah, this is probably the most accurate. Good Lord is absolutely correct. Oof. Okay. This is a tough one just because I don't particularly love seeing men versus women things, but this looks like a very heated conversation that was happening between two sets of parties. But here we go. All right. She starts off swinging, doesn't connect. So she initiates the action here. Then she does get kind of just tossed down by the hair, which I don't love. Okay. Now this dude's going to come in. I like the fact that I can't tell if this is your work or the cameraman's work.
No, this is just cameraman.
So this cameraman's like, in case you didn't see it before, let's show you this time in slow motion. Okay. So this dude says, hey, man, you're not going to come around and do that to her. If you think that's happening, I got a trip that won't work, but that is coming your way, pal. And it has your name on it. And when he goes to do it, man, does he miss the note, because I thought it was a full-on headbutt, and it is. But I think he paralyzed this dude. Because look at the way when he goes down, look at how my man is not moving his neck. That's not great. So not only does he kick him a few times, but to her credit, she flies in. Like Rey Mysterio, whenever the Big Show was coming out, he's like, I got something to add here. She flies in. I don't know what the thought process was, but homeboy gets at her like Darth Vader does Leia if he really had the chance to, and just says, equal opportunity, choke slams for all. Now, Tim, you were mentioning this, and I think it stands as a little bit of a realization. As she's coming in, it's not like a push kick. I think he was trying to go for a low blow here and then thought better of it, because he's like, oh, I'm going to kick her. Oh, she doesn't have. Yeah. All right, choke slam it is. So let's look at this one more time. Just from this. Hold on. This is the most accurate comment of all time. Peace shirt. LOL is the most accurate description here. Thank you for that one.
I didn't even catch that. That's great.
Thank you for Willofino 8. That is a very good catch here. She comes in, clocks. I mean, to her credit, if she's a pro wrestler, her work rate is great, because you don't want to connect if you're in pro wrestling. She goes, nah, I'm going to miss you by a mile. Good. Now, we're working stiff, brother. I see what's going on here. Wham. Then homeboy comes. I've never seen a worse trip in my life, and I don't have great trips. But this dude, 100%.
You think he was gonna kick and punch at the same time, and his brain just went? Yeah,
no, 100%. This is where you press multiple buttons on the joystick, and this is the result you get. He literally was like, kick and punch. Punch didn't happen. Yikes, and I'm dead. But look, I think he convulses. Like, look at this. Watch when he hits the ground. Like electrocuted. Honey, come help me with your shirt.
This guy. This is the thing about
this is terrible.
Guy with hat backwards cannot fight when he actually tries to fight, but his reactions for fighting are great. Like when he actually tried, like I'll throw a kick, it's like it's lame, but the choke was great. The ragdoll was great. The headbutt, was he planning the headbutt, or did he just go like bam?
I
like
think he just felt that one, Tim.
When
Joe Dirt slipped that first punch like a pro. You're not right. And it said that was a stiff arm or ended in a choke slam. And it says, is that the Carpents guy from Instagram? I don't know. And it says, did she have something in her hand at the end when she went to go swing? I mean, let's find out.
What?
You guys put the real questions out to us. Did she?
A fucking, sorry, excuse my language, a cigarette?
Oh,
like, what did she have? What did she have? A phone?
I don't know. But if she did switch cigarettes in mid-stride, that would actually be very impressive. All right, comes in.
She just hopped over guy, too. She didn't even check on him. She just stepped right over his dead body. Like, no concern.
So stupid.
This guy's got basketball pants on, or shorts on from Walmart, too, dude. This is like the worst.
That's Vito from Viva La Bam. My man is well researched. All right, Tim. Well, I felt like we hit the hard topics as best we can. I think it's time we end this beast. Let's return to the other window. And, sir, why don't you go ahead and tell us where people can find you, sir?
Yeah, you can check me out at Inside BJJ. We are banging the show out every Wednesday before the PGF goes live. You can catch us on all of our socials. And if you're out in Nashville, come see me at 10th Planet Nashville. And if you're in Stockton, go see my boys at 10th Planet Stockton. I'm going to go live on Kick eventually here. You know how I am, dude. I'm an old man now, but I'm definitely going to do it. So look for me there. RAF, great show, man. No matter, I look at these boards, we do this little dance that we do, especially when you come up with the topics and then I'll make pictures, and sometimes we're wildly like different in our approach, but it ties together very, very well. But then when it comes together live, it's always something else. Like you never know exactly where it's going to go. And I really love that about doing the show with you, man. It's always great.
It's that we're different, but similar. And you just put them together like that. And they come together real nice. It's, same is what it is. Anyways, it says you guys are great. Thank you. Well, we appreciate you too, Thanks. DW Jones. We love you guys. And yes, Tim did carry it very nicely. Tim, I'm going to say goodbye to everybody, but I appreciate you, brother. Enjoy the rest of your weekends, good sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, you guys, that is about doing it for us. But reminders, you can catch me, Grappling Hour, everywhere. We got so many interviews. We have like 10 interviews with people from the PGF just this year. And you could find those at my Patreon at patreon.com/grappling hour. You can find them on my YouTube page, everywhere. But if it is not a bother, I'd love it if you guys go to patreon.com/grappling hour. You can see my interviews 30 days before everybody else. And for a few extra dollars, support your boy. I give you extra content not available anywhere else. So those are the real big things. I also want to tell you guys, yes, I will be reporting live back at the PGF this Wednesday. So we all know the show starts at 4, but the show before the show starts at about 3:30 Best Coast time here. That is Pacific time. So if it's East Coast, 6:30 p.m., look for us. We do the pre-show. And after you see 30 matches, you're going to hang out with me. I do the post-show as well. So just to let you guys know, that is really what we're looking at here. And last couple reminders, your boy is going to be out at AEW Revolution. If you're there, come say hi to me. I'm going to be enjoying some pro wrestling, some real grappling for a change. But until then, you guys, it has been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.